you could join us today. My name is Todd Marin, and I am Tesla's General Counsel and Corporate Secretary. Following the formal part of the meeting, I'll be introducing Tesla's co-founder, CEO, and chairman, Elon Musk, to the stage. In addition, I'd also like to introduce several other people.
Also, let me know how the audio is, guys, if you guys can hear it okay.
We have our board of directors. We have our CEO, Deepak Ahuja, and Martin Vieca from our investor relations team. We also have several other members of our management team. We have Larry Westall and David Humphreys from PwC, Tesla's independent auditor. There are going to be two parts to today's meeting. First, the formal part of the meeting, also known as the very boring part. That will cover the 4 items that stockholders have been asked to vote on today. After the voting, Elon will answer questions about Tesla, both from those that were submitted on Twitter before this meeting and from those in attendance today. Okay, let's get started by calling the annual meeting of stockholders to order. Please refer to the agenda and rules of the meeting that were provided to you today. The time is now 2:36 p.m., and I declare that the polls are now open. We have already received, over the past few weeks, voting proxies from our stockholders, meaning that almost all of the votes that will be counted were already submitted before this meeting. However, as I mentioned earlier, if you wish to submit a ballot to vote your shares or change your prior vote, you can do so today by picking up a ballot at the table in the corner and handing it to Lisa Brenton from Computershare. Lisa, if you could just raise your hand one more time. There she is. Tesla's board of directors has appointed Lisa of Computershare to serve as the inspector of election for this meeting. Lisa has taken and signed an oath as inspector of election. Computershare is certified that starting on April 26, 2018, the proxy materials or a notice of internet availability of the proxy materials were mailed or provided to all Tesla stockholders of record as of April 12, 2018. We have a majority of the outstanding shares represented today, so I declare that there's a quorum present and that we may proceed with the meeting. The items on the agenda are as follows. Number 1, the election of 3 Class 2 directors, Antonio Gracias, James Murdoch, and Kimball Musk, to serve for a term of 3 years or until their respective successors are duly elected and qualified. Number 2, to ratify the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers as Tesla's independent registered public accounting firm for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2018. Tesla's board has recommended that our stockholders vote for each of the director nominees and for the ratification of the appointment of our accounting firm. I know we have one stockholder today who would like to make a brief comment on the director proposal, and now would be the time to do so.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Todd. My name is Steve Diamond. I represent the CTW Investment Group, shareholders in Tesla, who work with union-sponsored pension funds, which are also shareholders in Tesla. For several years, we have engaged with Tesla about our corporate governance concerns. We want to see Tesla succeed in providing energy-efficient transportation and generating sustainable, high-skill, high-wage industrial employment. But the current board is an obstacle, not an aid, to these goals. We urge shareholders to vote no to the re-election of Mr. Gracias, Mr. Musk, and Mr. Murdoch.
Wow.
We do not think these individuals are a credible, independent voice for shareholders.
Fighting them.
Their lack of significant auto industry experience and human capital management experience are only their most obvious deficits. We are also concerned about whether these highly paid directors can help the CEO focus on solving the serious financial, production, and labor relations problems now facing Tesla. Before we vote today, we believe it is important that each of these candidates personally explain to us how they can contribute to finding solutions to these problems. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bold request.
Obviously, we've put forward a different presentation in our proxy, and the board recommends that the shareholders vote for the election of each of the directors. We also received 2 stockholder proposals as described in our proxy statement. The first proposal is to require that the chair of the board of directors be an independent director. Our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against this stockholder proposal. That proposal is proposed by Mr. Jing Zhao, who is here to present this proposal today.
This
Mr.
is the
Zhao?
one to get rid of Elon.
Is that okay? Oh, hi, good afternoon. There's no need to repeat the contents of the proposal, and I think you can read it. I don't want to spend too much time. I just want to point it out. First, the opposition statement's number is a little misleading. In fact, only 49% S&P 500 combined CEO and the chairman's roles. And the second, as just actually this gentleman pointed out, our board is not fully independent. For example, our lead director is not fully independent, and some board members are not independent. So combined, these factors and the other factors listed in my proposal, it's time for us to change course to have an independent chairman. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks. Finally, we received one last stockholder proposal regarding proxy access, which is also described in our proxy statement, and our board has recommended that our stockholders vote against that proposal as well. This proposal is being presented by Mr. James McRitchie. Go ahead, Mr. McRitchie.
Tesla's shooting for the moon and beyond, and we love it. But shouldn't we have a little insurance? A cost-benefit analysis by CFA Institute found proxy access would benefit both the markets and corporate boardrooms with little cost or disruption, raising U.S. market capitalization by $140 billion. In other words, a vote in favor of this proposal is likely to raise the value of our stock. 2 of our directors hold no stock in our company. Why do they have such little confidence? Proxy advisor Institutional Shareholder Services considers 3 of our directors not to be independent. Whatever you think of our current board, isn't it good to have just a little insurance? In the time of crisis, and I don't just mean our ongoing production crisis, we could place 2 nominees on the proxy without going through an expensive proxy contest. Based on my proposal, any group putting forth nominees would have to have held $1.5 billion in Tesla stock continuously for 3 years. Between 2015 and 2017, a total of 206 proxy access proposals were voted. Average support exceeded 53%. More than 60% of S&P 500's companies have adopted proxy access. In its statement of opposition, the board points to a lack of safeguards, such as the ability of investors to use proxy access even if they have lent out shares, hold a short position, or intend a change of control. However, this proposal simply offers advice to the board, subject to a 500-word limit. The board is free to adopt proxy access bylaw that includes restrictions on the use of proxy access, just as every other adopting company has done. Furthermore, the ability to include a director nominee in the company's proxy does not guarantee election. Even if a, quote, special interest shareholder were to be placed on the ballot, that nominee would still need to win broad support to be elected. Keep in mind that current officers and directors, who presumably would vote against any such nominee, own nearly 25% of outstanding shares. No shareholder nominee would win without the support of our largest investors, such as Fidelity, T. Rowe Price, Bailey Gifford, Tencent, Vanguard, and BlackRock. Vote for proxy access, item number 4. Vote for insurance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McRitchie. Before we conclude, are there any proxies remaining in the audience that have not been submitted? This would be the time. I see one here. Keep them up high, and we'll have people come by and grab them from you.
That sounded like the most intelligent one, but it also was confusing. So that means, to me, it might actually make sense. It's one of those where you probably have to unpack it for like hours, or at least have a years and years of industry experience to understand what the implications of that would be. It also sounded to me like he was trying to put himself on the board by suggesting only certain very select few people could actually do it, in which case he might be one of them. I'm not sure. That was an interesting one. The other one seemed kind of like stuff to get the media's attention. This one seemed more like
Anyone else
a real
want to appear?
thing. Let's see what else. Let's go to YouTube.
Last call? Okay. All right, I declare that the polls are now closed. Based on the proxies that we received before the meeting, I can announce that our shareholders approved the recommendations of the Tesla Board of Directors on all 4 agenda items, and they did so by a wide margin. Each of the items passed in line with the recommendations by more than a supermajority vote.
So Elon's saying
We will
everyone else is
formally announce the
saying-
results of the voting by filing a Form 8K within 4 business days of today's meeting. That concludes the official business of today's meeting, also known as the boring part, which is now adjourned. I welcome you to now stay for the Q&A session and Elon's presentation. In addition to
boring
taking
part
questions from the
presented by
audience,
the boring
Elon
company.
will answer questions that you have and that you submitted on Twitter before the meeting. During the course of the Q&A session, we may discuss our business outlook and make other forward-looking statements. Such statements are predictions based on our current expectations. Actual events or results could differ materially due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those disclosed in our most recent Form 10-Q filed with the SEC. Such forward-looking statements represent our views as of today, should not be relied on thereafter, and we disclaim any obligation to update them after today. With that, please welcome Elon Musk.
They just turned the volume down. That wasn't me. Promise. Oh, hey, this video looks familiar. Here comes the copyright strike, guys.
Welcome. I
did have
love
a
you guys
cameo in
too.
this video, in case you guys didn't know.
All right. I think we've got quite a lot of good news to talk about, and look forward to sharing that with you and then taking questions from the audience. Yeah, I'm just really proud of the Tesla team for accomplishing so much against incredible headwinds. And I'd just like to express a note of appreciation for all of our customers who bought our cars. Thank you for buying our product. We're doing everything we can to make it as good as possible, as fast as possible. I think this is going to sound maybe a little cheesy, but at Tesla we build our cars with love. Like we really care. I think at a lot of other companies, they're built by like the marketing department and the finance department, and there's no soul, you know.
Wow.
So like,
Getting teary-eyed.
we're not perfect, but we pour our heart and soul into the product, and we really care.
Wow.
So.
How could you not love this guy? He's not the best speaker, but he's endearing.
And the dedication of the Tesla team has been incredible. And people they've really been working incredibly hard to make the car. It's very difficult to become a mass manufacturing car company. No one has succeeded in doing this in a very long time in the United States, and even the ones that have, only Ford's the only one that hasn't gone bankrupt. So it's super difficult. So, in fact, yeah, in the history of the American auto industry, it's always worth bearing in mind that only 2 have not gone bankrupt, and that's Ford and Tesla. So it's. it's insanely hard just staying alive. So I just want to be clear, it's really difficult. We've had people at Tesla who've sort of worked like 60 days straight, and we had like basically forced them to go home. Like, you got to go home, man. You're gonna keel over. And then you snuck back in to work. You're like, damn it, we said go home. But the net result is, despite a lot of difficulties, all lines, all parts of the Model 3 production system have demonstrated a 500 car per day capability, or a 3,500 car per week capability. So,
Wow. 3,500 per week.
And then we just did a big set of upgrades, and we're spooling out the production lines again. And I think it's quite likely that we will achieve a 5,000 car week by the end of this month.
Wow. Wow.
It's like, this is like, I'll tell you, the most excruciating, hellish several months I've maybe ever had. And a lot of
That's
other people at
saying
Tesla. But I think we're getting there. We're doing well on market share. The blue line is the Tesla Model 3. We just became, in May, the best-selling mid-size premium sedan in the United States of any kind. So,
To be clear, those aren't mid-size sedans.
That's of any kind, so not just, so it's beating all internal combustion engine cars, not just battery or hybrid or anything like that. And that's despite the fact that we still offer only one version of the car. All-wheel drive is coming out next month, and then we'll have the lower cost, the shorter range battery, lower cost car at around the end of this year is when we're expecting to do it.
End of the year, $35,000 model.
So,
there you go.
We also made huge progress in the reliability of the car. So in the beginning, it was a bit bumpy, and now as deliveries have risen, the quality and reliability of the car has improved dramatically. So it's improved by a factor of maybe 4 or 5 since start of production, and we're working on making that even better. Employee safety is a big deal for us. It's always tougher to achieve safety when you're building a new manufacturing line. So if you've got a manufacturing line that's in steady state, then you've got an opportunity to iron out the processes and make it a lot easier to build the car. As you're figuring things out, it takes a while to get there. So thus far in 2018, our average our injuries per person are 6% below the industry average, which is great because last year we were a little bit above, and now we're a little bit below, and that trend is continuing downward. So I think we've got a shot at being maybe half the injuries per person of the auto industry, that's the goal we're striving for, is to be half the injuries per person. When you're building cars and you've got a huge number of people, it's impossible to be zero. We wish it could be zero, but we think being twice as good as the average in the auto industry is a very achievable number, and that's what we're working hard to achieve. It's worth noting that when the injuries, the vast majority of the injuries are repetitive stress injuries, so like back strain or wrist strain, by far the most common thing. So, and the way to address that is with better tooling and fixtures, and rotating people through different roles, so they're not always doing the same action.
That makes sense.
And it's also boring to do the same action over and over again. So, we're making good progress on that, and it's also worth noting, even our current injury rate is half that of what it was when Toyota and GM were operating the plant. So that is often lost in a lot of the media articles. So if we achieve our goal, we'll be a quarter of the injuries of when it was NUMMI. So this is what I really want to emphasize, this is a super important thing to me, because we obviously owe a great debt to the people who are building the car. I really care about this issue. So
It's hard to argue about this.
And Supercharger expansion is going really well. We're almost over 10,000 superchargers worldwide.
Wow.
And yeah, our goal is that you'll be able to go almost anywhere on Earth using the Tesla supercharger system. We're very excited about the next generation supercharger that is, it's mostly finished in design and will go into production hopefully around the end of this year. So Supercharger Generation 3 will be quite a dramatic improvement. But we want to save that announcement for when it deploys, which is hopefully later this year. And then once we have that system in place, then we're going to accelerate the supercharger expansion even more.
That'd be great. I can't wait to actually see. And I'm just taking notes here if you guys are wondering what I'm doing.
So,
I'm not playing on my phone.
We've managed to do now a gigawatt hour of energy storage deployment worldwide. This is all the way through from the reign of Ramses II of Egypt through today, which is a very impressive period of time. And in less than a year from now, we will do another gigawatt. So it's a pretty massive, yeah. So the rate of stationary storage deployment is going to grow exponentially. I mean, it's really, I think, for many years to come, each incremental year will be about as much as all of the preceding years, which is a crazy, crazy growth rate. It's also a sort of a production limited thing. We would actually be able to do more if we could produce more. And we are producing a lot of batteries. So, in fact, next quarter at the Gigafactory, we expect to make more battery capacity than all other EVs combined worldwide, including China. So,
Wow.
I mean, this is a really crazy amount of batteries. This one factory will make more than all the other factories on Earth. I think really deserving the Gigafactory sort of title. It's really, really nutty. We want to try to have, like, maybe when things get calmed down a bit, like have more tours available for Giga, because it's like epic. It's like, yeah, it's like at least 2 hours to walk. Just to walk through all of the parts of Giga at this point, just to walk through everything takes 2 hours. Like, if you don't pause a lot. It's like good exercise. So that's, yeah, pretty wild. We have our first we actually have a bunch of non-Tesla employee Solar Roof customers, and the response has been very positive. That whole roof is solar, and it just looks normal. In fact, it looks better than the roof that was there. So I have it on a house that I bought, the little house across the road that used to be owned by Gene Wilder. It's sort of like a Willy Wonka house, and I was like trying to figure out how to have that go solar without kind of ruining the Gene Wilder aesthetic, which is I really like actually. So. But I was able to put these on Gene Wilder's old house, and it still looks like it still has the same character, which is great.
Try not to sound like a billionaire that just
we're
has
spending a lot of
extra
time
houses.
just validating the solar roof, because they need to last at least 30 years, ideally longer. There's only so much accelerated life testing that you can do on a roof. So before we can deploy it to a large number of houses, we need to make sure that all elements of the roof are going to last for at least 3 decades, and ideally sort of half a century or more. But this is going to be a very big product. And it's also going to grow exponentially. It's, and I think you kind of want to have a thing where if you look around the neighborhood, adding solar actually made the improved the aesthetics and feel of a neighborhood. I think that's a really big deal.
Yeah, I don't know if people agree with you, Elon.
We're not far from Q3, and
This is huge.
Actually, my CFO and general counsel are like, yeah, you have to watch what words you use in these situations. But I think it's really looking like we are going to have positive GAAP net income next quarter, and as well as positive cash flow in Q3 and Q4. And we, as I've said before, do not expect to need to raise any incremental debt or equity. So.
That's huge. That's huge. We'll see if that shakes out, but
And we've got some exciting products in the works. The Model Y is really going to be something super special.
new image.
We're aiming to unveil the Model Y approximately March next year, and then go into production about maybe around 2 years from now. Maybe a little less than 2 years, but basically first half of 2020 for production of Model Y. Something similar for Semi and Roadster. So these products are shaping up. I think Semi and Roadster are actually going to be even better than what was unveiled.
Yes.
We've figured out ways to improve the range and overall functionality of the Semi. In particular, the Roadster, what I unveiled with the Roadster was the base model performance.
Yes, give it to me. I want more.
It's going to have a SpaceX option package.
What? I don't know what that means, but okay.
It's crazy.
I have to call Tim.
And I think that it's important for us to show with the Roadster that an electric vehicle can outperform a gasoline car in every way. So that because gasoline cars still have sort of a halo effect, and I think if we can show an electric car can outperform a gasoline car in every way, then we sort of get rid of that halo effect of gasoline cars, and I think that's quite a powerful thing perceptually for the general public.
Wow. SpaceX option package. Yes. And yes, I'm getting my friend Tim, the everyday
So there's just
astronaut, to
some
come ride in
questions
it
that we got
and
on
explain
Twitter.
what that is.
I guess we had some really insightful questions on Twitter, as well as some strange ones. But yeah, so one of the first questions is, for Model 3 production line, as I said before, we're really going to focus on manufacturing technology for Tesla, and we've made a lot of mistakes with Model 3 production, but we recognize those mistakes, and we're confident we know how to address them. In fact, we are addressing them, and long term, I think the biggest competitive strength of Tesla is going to be manufacturing. This is sort of counterintuitive, but it is going to be quite dramatic, I think. The approach to automation that we've taken, I think in some cases has worked, in some cases has not. But it's clear that there are some elements of production which are really well suited to people doing it, and some parts of production that are really well suited to robotics. And one of the biggest mistakes we made was trying to automate things that are super easy for a person to do, but super hard for a robot to do. And when you see it, it looks super dumb. You're like, wow, why do we do that?
Humility.
So, and then so it sort of makes sense to start off with an initial production line which has a relative bias towards people, and then you automate the parts of the production system that are the most painful and difficult for people to do. So particularly ones that result in repetitive stress injuries or mechanically difficult. That's really a much better approach. And that's what we're going to do for Dreadnought Factories 1 and 2. It's a much more sensible way to do things.
Interesting.
Well, let me actually have some of the Tesla executive team come up. Guys, you want to come up and hang out? Yeah.
Let's see, we have JB and Deepak for sure. Bronze.
So JB, do you want to talk about the battery cost stuff?
Sure. So, it's
Strauble,
difficult
the
for us to
CTO.
talk about specific cost numbers. That's always a difficult topic, but we're still very confident that we have the best price and performance of anything out there in the world. If there's something better, I don't know about it, and we've looked as hard as we possibly can. And we try and talk to every single battery startup, every lab, every large manufacturer. We get quotes from them. We test cells from them. So if there's something better, we're all ears. We'd love to find it, but we haven't found it yet. So generally, yeah, we're still pretty confident about that same direction.
Yeah, I mean, we think at the cell level, probably we can do better than $100 per kilowatt hour, maybe later this year, depending upon on commodity prices. If commodity prices are roughly where they are today, then we'll probably do better than $100 kilowatt hour at the cell level. And then with further
That's
improvements
huge.
to the cell chemistry and the production process, and more vertical integration on the cell side, for example, integrating the production of cathode and anode materials at the Gigafactory, and then an improved design of the module and pack, we think long term we can get below $100 a kilowatt hour at the pack level, which is really
Wow.
the key figure of merit for a car. But long term meaning definitely less than 2 years. That's Tesla long term. So, anything? I mean, yeah. Yeah, we think we've come up with some pretty cool breakthroughs on this front, on the energy density and cost of the battery pack, and yeah, I think it's going to be pretty great as far as I can see. Yeah. So,
Lots of details there.
when will the Gigafactory be completely built? I think we'll keep building on the Gigafactory for at least 4 or 5 years. It will be by far the biggest building in the world. It's not that far from being the biggest building in the world already, and based on the plans that we know, it might be twice as big as the next building in the world. Hence the interesting tour.
It's not the size of the
so
building,
it's-
Elon.
yeah.
It's how you use it.
Yeah, it's about a third done right now. Yeah, so it's really enormous, and I think it's going quite well. There will be more Gigafactories in the future. Like we're close to announcing a combined vehicle and battery factory. So future
China.
Gigafactories will include vehicle and battery pack and powertrain as a single integrated unit. And we're close to announcing something in China.
Yep.
That,
In Shanghai.
I don't know, Robin, do you want to talk about that? But I mean, we don't want to make an announcement.
Elon,
Exactly. Maybe
too
just
late.
talk about like preamble or something. I don't know. So Robin is head of worldwide sales for Tesla.
Robin
Thanks,
Denholm,
Elon.
I believe this is.
I didn't expect to talk about this. So we're incredibly excited to build first Tesla Gigafactory outside of the U.S. In China. Specifically, it's going to be in Shanghai. And
Shanghai,
we
we
have
knew
been holding discussions with the government, various governments in China. Really great discussions, great partners. We really look forward to working with them in the years to come. This is going to be, the next generation of Tesla factory. We're super excited. The stuff that we're going to be put in there and the cars that we're going to be building in that factory is going to be incredible. So we going to announce something really, all the details really, really soon. So I won't tell more, but this is enough.
Somebody's probably over there saying, no more.
Particularly as we try to make cars more and more affordable, it's going to be important to localize production to at least the continent level. And so having a Gigafactory and vehicle factory in North America, one in China, and then one in Europe will be, that's sort of those are the obvious three places for vehicle and battery Gigafactories. So probably, if things go according to plan, we'll probably be announcing details of the China Gigafactory as soon as next month. And then Europe Gigafactory maybe end of this year, kind of depending on how we need to figure out where to put it exactly. So, but probably towards the end of this year for the Europe Gigafactory.
Confirmed
and
European
ultimately we expect
Gigafactory?
probably there's 10 or 12 worldwide.
Wow, 10 or 12 worldwide, that's amazing.
So, just some questions on the Tesla Semi. We are going to do another revision of the Tesla Semi design because we've learned a lot, and we think we can actually make it even better than what was unveiled, and really have a range that is way beyond what people think, or most people in the industry think is possible. And we want to. It's definitely going to be a Semi that works in Europe and in North America and China and the rest of the world. You already kind of answered that. Yeah, one major factory in the works, and then another one in the works later this year. Yeah, do you want to talk about cells?
Yeah, we've talked about this a few times, but Tesla will absolutely recycle, and we do recycle all of our spent cells, modules, and battery packs. So, the discussion about, this waste is sort of ending up in landfills is not correct. We would not do that. These are valuable materials. In addition to, it's just the right thing to do. So we have current partner companies on every major continent where we have, cars operating that we work with to do this today. And in addition, we're developing internally more processes. We're doing R&D on how we can improve this recycling process to get more of the active materials back. And ultimately, what we want is a closed loop right at the gigafactories that reuses the same recycled materials. This isn't impossible. We see a pathway to do it. But that's where we're headed with this. And today, we're on the way to do that. It's definitely something that will be a huge benefit in the long term to cost, as we're able to reprocess more materials instead of actually having to mine new materials.
In terms of repairability of Model 3, including insurance costs, we're working with insurance companies and on some internal activities, but we're really confident of getting the cost of insurance for Model 3 to be at least 20 to 30% lower than, say, a BMW 3 Series or equivalent mid-size sedans. So the safety is definitely better, and then we're working on the repair costs. We've already made a lot of progress on that front. But the bottom line is that the insurance cost, or total cost of ownership of the Model 3 should be significantly better than any other mid-priced premium sedan. So, Yes. There will be, we will definitely offer a $35,000 version of the Model 3. I think probably at the end of this year is when we should be able to make the smaller battery pack, and then get into kind of volume production of the 35K version in Q1 next year. So that's definitely, we will definitely honor that obligation, and we would do so right now if it was physically possible. Let's see, yeah, we're going to, in hopefully next month, offer a free trial for people to try out Autopilot and see how well it works. We're also making rapid progress on Autopilot technology. So there's a new version of Autopilot that's rolling out, I think, this week, which I think is quite a significant improvement. And I think what you'll see is that the reliability and capability of Autopilot will increase exponentially over the next 6 to 12 months. It's really, the improvements are very, very rapid. The length of time to wait for a Model 3, if you're ordering one now, will vary quite a bit depending upon what part of the world you're in and what configuration. So if for the existing configuration, if you were to order now in the US, you probably would be waiting, I'm guessing, about 3 or 4 months. If you, on the other hand, if you want the right-hand drive version, you're probably waiting for over a year, because we need to build the right-hand drive version and ship it to other countries and homologate the car for other countries. So the wait is anywhere from 3 to 15 months, approximately. But for current configuration, ordered now, it's maybe about 3 or 4 months.
I think that's a bit more aggressive than you find on the website.
This is actually quite a complicated answer. There are many lines to the Model 3. In some places there are several lines. In some places there's just one line. And it kind of depends on what the capacity of that line is. So for general assembly, which is like putting the parts together at the end, we currently have 2 lines and are constructing a third. The third line is, I think, dramatically better than lines 1 and 2. We started construction on that third line about 2 weeks ago, and we're already putting the first car through that line. So it's really crazy fast. And that's part of what gives me confidence about the 5K per week for Model 3. Currently, the biggest constraint on output is general assembly. And I think we can probably get to 5,000 a week with the current 2 general assembly lines. But with the third one, I'm highly confident that we can exceed 5,000 units per week. Oh, and then Model 3 test drives. We should be able to offer Model 3 test drives starting the end of this month. And I think we should have them in almost all stores in North America by the end of next month. We're rapidly expanding service centers. I think by the end of next, kind of year over year, we'll probably see a doubling of service center capacity for Tesla. And we're making major progress on the body shop front. We're also, it was quite a big deal. We're creating Tesla body shop repair locations, and we should have by the end of this month at least the top 10 metro areas in the U.S. Being able to be serviced by a Tesla body shop. This will be a dramatic improvement in the cost and time of body repair. In fact, we think we might be able to do for a lot of them like same-day body repair, which is, yeah. It's definitely possible. So I think we want to aim for at least some number of body repairs to be same day. Whereas if we go to third parties, best case, it's about a week. In some cases, it's several weeks. So this is pretty exciting, actually. And we're basically just taking our biggest service centers, adding in an annex for body repair, and then pre-stocking the parts, so you don't have to wait for parts to come from the factory. Not yet. But yeah, March next year, I think we'll have something very exciting to show. All right, so let's take some questions from the audience. I think it's basically just line up the mics and go for it.
Hi, Ron. Matthew. I wanted to ask, is there going to be a time, perhaps in the next years, and Tesla is going to produce compact and or subcompact vehicles, such a huge segment, and it seems like that would be necessary to fulfill the master plan Part 2 mandate?
Yeah, I think we'll do a compact car in less than 5 years. Yeah. All right.
Wow, less than 5. Okay.
Hey, Elon. Great progress. You mentioned autopilot progress as well. So when do you expect like fully enhanced autopilot functionality, like following navigation, switching freeways, within the 6-month time frame?
I was just testing that last night at about 1 a.m. I think we might be able to release something in a couple of months that can do that. We've been pursuing 2 paths. One really complicated path that I think isn't working that great, and then a simple path that I think will work pretty well. I mean, I was able to drive last night, go from highway on-ramp to highway off-ramp using the simplified version of the control system. And I think with some further effort, we can get that out in the next couple months. Yeah.
As the team freaks out.
Is this on? There we go. So as far as TestLink is concerned with the Model 3, and to what degree of certainty, will there be a consumer or a fleet lease option within the next 3 years on the Model 3? Is that something that you guys already have in the plans, in the works, or is there room for ancillary business?
We will offer leasing on Model 3, but probably end of this year or early next, because it does have a slight impact on the capital usage of Tesla. In terms of fleet stuff, I think I think people can certainly buy a lot of Model 3s and then operate them as a fleet like people do for Model S's and X's for taxis. Yeah, I think we'd certainly be happy to support that. Yeah.
Kind of a simple follow-up to that, just kind of the understood thing. If I purchase a whole fleet and then Tesla comes in and says, all right, we're going to start leasing direct to the consumer or having a commercial option, that might not work out so well for me. But that's why I'm asking. Is it anything commercial happening that you have in the works in the next 2 years even?
Well, we're not really right now we're just super focused on ramping up manufacturing of Model 3 and making sure people can get their cars because they've been waiting for a couple of years. And we're not really thinking much about incremental demand generation because as it is, even getting to 5K cars per week, it would take us almost 2 years to produce enough cars to satisfy those that have put down a $1,000 deposit. So, yeah, we need to kind of ramp to 5K and then next year ramp to 10K a week and get the right-hand drive version done and homologate the car for Europe and Asia, and and then we'll think about other things once we've done all those things. Thank you.
Hi, Glenn Shotwell of SpaceX mentioned that Tesla automobiles might use in some way the Starlink satellite network. I was wondering if you might elaborate on that opportunity and when that might take place.
It's possible. I think it probably will be the Starlink thing is more meant for like fixed terrestrial homes and businesses and that kind of thing. For mobile, it might be possible to use the Starlink system effectively if you had a repeater, ground-based repeater system. But the Starlink user terminal is about the size of a sort of small to medium-sized pizza. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure you'd want to put that on the roof of the, of a Tesla. I mean, maybe, but I think probably just using, most likely we'll continue to use just Wi-Fi and the cellular network. Yeah,
Because
most
the
likely.
receiver for Starlink is not like a typical receiver, so the car couldn't immediately
Hello.
just receive.
Hi.
My name is Steven Singleton, and my question is, how is Tesla engaging regarding virtual power stations with governments and territories and countries that may have weak power infrastructures to provide clean energy to more of the world's citizens?
Yeah, I think we'll have a lot more to say about that when we announce the Generation 3 of the superchargers, because we'll be doing much more of an integrated solar battery system with the superchargers. So to date, only a few of the supercharger systems have solar and battery systems, but long term we want to have almost all of them have that. And the nice thing is that if you've got like a solar-powered, kind of like a solar-powered carport area and Tesla batteries, then even if the grid, you don't even need to be connected to the grid. So it's sort of like even proof against like a zombie apocalypse. It should still work as long as the zombies aren't too near the supercharger, I suppose. But yeah, so it'll be able to work anywhere, even if there's not good power infrastructure.
He's also asking about like networking power walls together.
Oh, okay.
And for like a virtual power plant, if that's kind of what you also were alluding to, we do have a really cool project in Australia where we're actually networking together up to 50,000 individual homes with power walls. So each one of those homes has its own battery. It can still serve as like a backup power source if the utility totally goes out, if there's a storm. But when things are working normally, all those houses can talk together, and then we can talk to the utility and treat them as sort of one big distributed power plant. So that's a really cool project that has benefits across the whole grid for the homeowners, for a lot of people. And we're building that out right now, and we'll probably be expanding that same model. We have a small demo in the US, and we'll be expanding it worldwide.
They also just did a project like this in Belgium for virtual power plant.
And we're also doing quite a lot in Puerto Rico. I think Tesla has more battery projects and solar projects in Puerto Rico than everyone else combined. So we're making a big difference there, doing our best to. And I think there's potential for kind of a virtual grid in Puerto Rico as well, rather than rebuilding a legacy, sort of oil and gas-based energy generation system.
Hey, Elon. I also think boring, boneheaded questions are not cool, so hopefully this is a little more interesting. I've had a Model S since 2012, best purchase ever.
Thank you.
You guys nailed design, nailed performance. The one thing I always get from friends and family, because I do the drive down to LA a lot, is the supercharging time. I know you mentioned you guys are working on Supercharger 3. I assume it's going to be a bit faster. Just curious, do you guys see room for kind of orders of magnitude improvement in charging time, or are we kind of reaching a plateau with current battery chemistry and technology?
I wouldn't say that there's an order of magnitude improvement, but I think a factor of 3 or 4 is possible. Now, it won't be applicable to all battery chemistries. So 2012 chemistry can't take the charge rate of current chemistry. And we wish it could, but we just had to make a bunch of improvements to increase the charge rate. The key, I think, figure of merit is that the ratio of drive time to charge time should be at least on the order of like 6 to 1, if not 8 to 1 or 10 to 1. At the point at which you're driving, say, 10 times as much as you're charging, then the natural sort of human need to take a break, unless you have an enormous bladder, is it starts to become paramount. I mean, if you start a road trip at say 9 a.m., typically by around noon, you want to stop, hit the restroom, grab a bite to eat, grab a coffee, and then you want to get back to your car and have it be ready to go. So that's where if you say that that's like maybe half an hour, that's kind of like the minimum threshold for the car to be ready to go when you come back from a break. And then if you get to the point where it's say 10 to 1, where maybe it's only 15, 20 minutes, something on the order of 15 minutes, then the car is ready to go way before you're ready to go. And for some of the long distance, like if you get, say, a Model S 100D, you can drive nonstop from LA to San Francisco if you drive carefully. That's a long drive. So, and we think there's potential. There's certainly opportunity for range improvements down the road where we'll be able to offer cars with ranges in excess of 400 miles. So, thanks.
Hi, my name is Dr. Catherine Van Eckert, and I'm with People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I have a question regarding your use of leather in your gear shifter and steering wheel.
Gear shifter?
Yeah.
What gear shifter?
No?
A gear shifter I don't think has anything. Steering wheel maybe does, or... Okay, the steering wheel still does. But, Francois...
Are you still using leather in some of your components?
So we do in Model S, X, and 3 currently. We have the only leather is on the steering wheel rim. And people have asked, and kind of off menu, we do replace that for people that need a fully vegan car.
Sure. So our concern is that we're obviously facing an environmental crisis, and animal agriculture, as we all know, is one of the main contributors, particularly leather production. We're really pleased to see that you have introduced non-leather seating options, and that's a really fantastic step towards your goal
Is there
of
a question?
sustainability.
Come on.
We would really like you to take the next step and eliminate all leather components.
Yeah, I think S, X, and 3, we may be the first vehicles in production to kind of go non-leather, and at least in all of our seating and our trim, and we're actively working on replacing the steering wheel as well. We just want to make sure that the experience is as good, if not better.
Sure. Yeah, just to add to that, so there are some existing premium vegan leather suppliers, Ultra Suede and Alcantaras, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. They're used by other luxury cars like Ferrari. So yeah, we would really like to see Tesla step up as well.
We'll definitely be offering sort of, as Fran says, technically, we don't say it on the website, but you can actually have a Tesla that has zero leather whatsoever, including on the steering wheel. It's a little difficult because we do it in small quantities at the design studio, so it's challenging to do it at scale. But Model Y, for example, will not have any leather in it, including in the steering wheel, even if it does have a steering wheel. Thank you.
When do you expect significant battery advances to allow Tesla to pack twice as much energy into each of the batteries without increasing the size or weight?
Twice as much is tricky, but we can certainly see a path to about a 30% improvement, maybe a 40% improvement in energy in the same size battery pack. That's technology we are confident does work, and it needs to be scaled up and made very reliable. But 30 to 40% is definitely doable. Long term, probably double. Long term by other people's standards. From a Tesla standpoint, we think probably 2 to 3 years to get to about a 30% improvement in volumetric energy density, and maybe 6 years or something, 6 to 8 years to get to a doubling. It's highly dependent on making lithium for that really big jump, a lithium anode is the key. Just plating out pure lithium on the anode. Right.
I started a company called Tesla Attractions. Tesla Attractions is basically a gamification version of visiting superchargers. And I know that you tweeted about this a while ago, saying that it was a good idea. And if you ever decide to go through with it, obviously I do not want to be in a position of competition with you. So how could someone like me help the mission?
Then maybe we should interview a Tesla. And so our focus right now is getting through the critical stuff like, especially the Model 3 production ramp, and then smoothing out the production process to make the car affordable, getting the lower cost battery pack or smaller battery pack into production. So those are kind of critical, fundamental things to really the survival of the company. And then we can do kind of like the fun, frivolous things, like, but they add joy to the experience. Maybe later this year. I think we always like doing sort of fun, silly things in the car, like the Easter eggs. That there's like a lot of Easter eggs in the Model S and X and 3 that are quite fun. If, in fact, once they're discovered, they're put in the Easter egg box, which you can just tap the Tesla logo on the screen, and then wait for about 30 seconds, and it opens the Easter egg box. Yeah.
30 seconds, it's like instant.
My name is Vance Gerber. I'm hooked into Tesla in multiple ways. Obviously, I'm a stockholder. I have a solar city panel on my roof, and also have a Model 3 reservation from March 31st of 2016, ready for configuring. But I would really, really, really like to have an all-wheel drive.
Oh yeah.
Can you give an order of magnitude guess as to how long I'd have to wait for that?
Oh, you should receive a configuration email maybe in the next week or so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
How about
and we start production on all-wheel drive. Actually, technically, we're starting on production on all-wheel drive this month, and we expect to scale that up in July and August, and be in high volume production of all-wheel drive by September for sure.
So I have a tour planned for September, 1 month tour.
All right, we'll make sure you get
Any
your car.
chance I can make it?
Yes. We'll
Thank
make sure you
very
get your car.
There you go. Become
you.
a shareholder. Ask Elon for your car.
Hi, I got my first Model S in 2013 and have an X and a 3 now. I love the product. I feel like I'll always be one of the first to try one of your new products. And I was just wondering, is there any chance in the future that we'll be able to text commands to our car, like heat my car to this temperature, come pick me up, that type of stuff?
We're going to keep enhancing the Tesla app on the phone, and to be able to, long term, just tap the summon button, and your car will come find you wherever you are. And really wanted to learn what you can change the temperature right now from the app, but we want the car to learn what you most likely would do. Like basically, if there was a great chauffeur in charge of the car, what would that person do, anticipating your needs and knowing what you'd want? So it's sort of like an intuitive, trusty steed that just always knows what you want, ideally, and then you can easily adjust that as needed. So we want it to be as close to like a mind meld with the car as possible. Yeah.
Oh, hi. My name is Kevin. I have the Model S since 13. And my question is about autopilot and the use of LiDAR. As we all know that Tesla probably is the company alone that not using LiDAR, where all other vendors using it. So as autonomous driving is close to reality, I think inevitably there will be a showdown on which approach will be more superior. Mm-hmm. So what do you think when that time will be?
Well, I think LiDAR will be seen as what LiDAR tends to drive companies to do is to go to a local maximum in terms of autopilot capability or autonomous driving capability, and LiDAR ends up being like somewhat of a crutch. It's helpful to get almost there, but if you rely on it, you will never actually get there, is my opinion. So you have to make vision work extremely well in order to achieve true self-driving. Once you've made vision work extremely well, LiDAR is really unnecessary. It's not really adding anything. We do have sophisticated sonar, like ultrasonic sensors around the vehicle for near field. And we do have a forward radar system, which is useful for detecting objects even in fog, sort of snow, rain, like low visibility conditions where you can't see what's going on. And that's also a case where LiDAR is ineffective because LiDAR is an active photon generator in the visible spectrum. This doesn't make sense to me because you have a massive amount of incoming photons in the visible spectrum normally. So if you're going to do active photon generation, the 400 to 700 nanometers is the wrong wavelength, or on that order is wrong wavelength. You really want to be aiming for something that's around a 4 millimeter wavelength because that is occlusion penetrating.
Good engineering response.
We're two-time Tesla Model S owners and also stockholders. Question about JB. Every SEC filing has always included JB as a key man, and he was suddenly dropped off in the Q1 filing, so a little concerned about JB.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And
that was maybe accidental, sorry. I didn't even know that was the case.
And is there a path?
I have no idea why.
Just made it more generic.
Oh.
Yeah, the intent was to make it more generic, the risk factor. There was no intended or unintended implication behind it. JB, we love you. We want you.
JB, there's something we need to talk to you about.
Sorry, and one last one, which is the Tesla's energy storage business is still running double-digit gross margins negative, it looks like, even though you've managed to deliver a lot more megawatt hours. Can you talk about the pathway to getting a profit out of that business, please?
Yeah, well, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, definitely we expect our storage business to turn significantly positive, and our goal is to have the same level of gross margin as the automotive business. And as our volume scale and as we have more Powerwalls out there and our manufacturing efficiencies come in, we definitely expect that you'll see a big change and a positive trend in that every quarter into 2019.
Yeah, we're aiming for essentially about the same gross margin level as in the cars, which is sort of a 20 to 30% gross margin for all of the energy products. It's necessarily during as you ramp up production, it ends up being it's negative just as it was for Model 3 and Model S and X, but probably later this year or certainly early next, we should be in the 20 to 30% gross margin level for energy storage.
Hi, thanks for a shot on the conference call, by the way. And my question was just surrounding, as a long-term investor, I hate to say this, but I feel like my trust in Tesla's timelines sort of eroded a little bit with the Model 3 ramp. So should I keep discounting things on Elon time, or have you learned anything about this?
Yes, Gally.
I think I do have like an issue with time. It's like, yeah. It's been true since my brother's here. I was like, I have a condition. I don't know. My brother used to, like when we were catching the bus to school, he would lie to me about the time. And he always say it's like, or sometimes say it's like earlier than it actually was, and then I'd get there slightly after that, and then we'd actually be able to catch the bus. So this is something I'm trying to get better at. I'm a sort of naturally optimistic person, which I would not have probably done cars or rockets if I was not. So I'm trying to recalibrate these estimates. Yeah. to recalibrate as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably put some sandbag on future dates. That's probably wise. But I kind of say when I think it can occur, but then I'm typically optimistic about these things. But maybe hopefully less optimistic over time. So yeah, like it pretty much always happens, but not exactly on the time frame. So.
Hey, Elon, we're about 15 minutes over 1 hour. Do you want to take maybe a couple more?
Yeah, maybe a couple more questions from each side.
Okay.
Sure.
Hello, Mr. Musk. My name is Alex Perez. I really like your jacket today, and so it kind of got me thinking, has Tesla ever thought about going into the motorcycle business?
Yeah, I actually used to ride motorcycles when I was a kid, and I was like dirt biking for like 8 years or something, and then had a road bike until I was 17 and was almost killed by a truck. So we're not going to do motorcycles.
Hi, Mr. Musk. My name is Sonia, and my mom has a Model 3, and my dad has a Model S, and I have one share. So I've noticed that whenever my mom is like kind of going a little bit too fast to like approaching a car at a stop sign, the Tesla beeps pretty loudly to kind of warn like, hey, you're gonna hit that. I was wondering, like, are you guys thinking about developing a mode where drivers could choose to turn it on, and then if a Tesla detected that it was approaching something quickly or was going to crash, it would like gradually slow down a little bit? So best case scenario, if the driver takes control, it doesn't really matter. Worst case scenario, and they crash, it decelerates, so it's not as bad.
It does actually have, there's automatic emergency braking. And I think what you're saying is like, instead of like last minute kind of dramatic slowdown, maybe slow down sooner but less dramatically. And that is something that will occur with the latest versions of autopilot. So it will, it will decrease speed proportionate to the confidence level. We want to do that in a way that's not annoying to people, like the car isn't slowing down a lot. But so it's really a delicate balance between not annoying people so that they want to turn it off, but also being safe. For autopilot, I think the improvements are going to be really quite dramatic over the next several months. The system is intended to change speed proportionate to its confidence in going forward. But in order to do so, we had to improve the sophistication of the autopilot neural net and the heuristics that go with it, so it just didn't annoy the hell out of people. Because there are many times where the car thinks it should slow down, but actually not really. And that would just drive people crazy. So I do think what you're getting at is something that you'll see play out with the versions of autopilot that are deploying later this year, and including the one that's coming out this week. Thanks.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to personally thank Elon, JB, Franz, Deepak. Good to have you back. Tim, Emily, Vinny, Andrew, the people at Tesla who I don't know by name, the proud owner of an early 2012 Model S, very different than the Model 3 that my dad recently got. His first new car, he's pretty perplexed and amazed by it. I actually drove that from New Jersey to Richmond, probably could have skipped supercharging entirely, charged the car for, I think it was maybe about 20 minutes and continued the trip. And the car was actually telling me that I was ready to go before I was done eating the sandwich that I picked up.
Cool.
I just wanted to ask a quick question. Is there a possibility to get a business card for the guy to your left? Because I wanted to tell him about a company this man's been working on, disruptive technology that you're already indirectly using, and wanted an opportunity to speak with you about it further. Thanks.
All right, thanks. Yeah, we'll certainly take the business card, and always looking to investigate interesting opportunities to improve the car. If you, one thing I think we haven't been good at educating people on is that the Model S and X, but especially the Model S, has improved very dramatically from 2012. So we're arguably on version 3 or 4 of the Model S right now. So it's really a gigantic improvement in Model S today versus Model S of 2012 when we first started production. I'd really encourage anyone who's got an early Model S to test drive the current version. I think you'll be blown away by how much it's improved. All right, I think that might be the last question. All right.
I will soon be driving around in Model 3. I'm curious you mentioned earlier that during production, it's people first and automation later slowly. What kind of considerations prompted to do otherwise when you started Model 3 production? Can you talk about that?
I think we're just overconfident about the degree of automation that was possible. We did rely quite a bit on Tier 1 manufacturing automation integrators. And a couple of those things really didn't work out at all. And now we're really going to internalize all Tier 1 manufacturing systems at Tesla. So we'll have a lot of suppliers, but they'll be at the Tier 2 and Tier 3 level. All right, thanks very much for coming.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm going to be following up on some Q&A here on Crowdcast. If you guys aren't subscribed, go ahead and do that for me, and then you'll get an invite to this. Every week we do this on Mondays. So thank you for everyone for joining me. And I'll just give you my quick takeaways here because I think there were a few. One is that the $35,000 Model 3 will be available later this year. There will be a free trial of Autopilot starting next month. That was very new and interesting. Also, there's a new version of Autopilot coming out this week. Stay tuned for some videos on that because I, as a Model 3 owner, hope I'll be getting that. Also, we got more info about the Gigafactory in China. We kind of knew it was already in Shanghai, but there's that. As well as the Supercharger V3 looks like it'll only be for newer cars, potentially not even those that are already available. And the interesting thing about the battery advances is that they didn't really address any of the ideas around solid state batteries or any of these other crazy technologies. So that's all for today. Again, do appreciate you guys for joining me. And remember that you can enter to win a test drive of a Model 3. I'm sorry, 24-hour rental of a Model 3 by going to teslanomics.co/100K. All right, until then.